see Marco here is on here. Let me just get this ready to roll here. And let me see. All messages are visible. There we go. We are ready. Let's see. How you doing, Mark? Let's see. Greetings from chilly Chicago down to 30s overnight. I heard that it was getting cold, man. I heard from people up in Massachusetts and New Hampshire it was getting cold too. So you guys are starting to get chilly up there. I kind of miss that in a way, you know. But let's see how many other people we get on here soon. Let's see. We got Michael on here. Good to see you on here, Mike. Let's see. Steve Winter has come to Middle America. That's good though. I kind of miss that. But let's see. Who else we got on here? We got five thumbs up and 4 people. That's pretty good. I like that. Let's see. We got 7 people on here. Let's see if we get a lot of people on here tonight. It's going to be a short one tonight, guys. All right, because I'm actually going on vacation tomorrow. Let's see. RC in Jacksonville. Evening, Steve. Jeeves Winston. Morning from Vermont. Must be really cold, Jeeves, up in Vermont tonight. Let's see. It was 28 the other day, I guess, in Nashua, New Hampshire. My friend was telling me. Hello. Steele says, Smoky Mountain Model says, good evening, Steve. Hope all is well. Justin Mays says, hi, Steve from PA. Gurkha says, evening, Steve. We got 15 people on here already within a few seconds. That's pretty good. With 8 thumbs up. That's amazing. Guys, I want to tell you some good news today. This come out of the palace today, I guess within the past couple of days. And they're actually talking about opening up to tourists soon. So I thought that was kind of cool that they were talking about that. And they said, they didn't say it's going to be immediate, but they were talking about that it might be pretty soon. So that's pretty key right there. But let's see. JM says, when can I go to the Philippines? Well, we were just talking about that. The palace was actually talking about opening up to tourists pretty soon. So it sounds like we're going to see something soon. I don't know what it means. It might mean they're just going to open up to tourists in certain spots. I don't know. I got the feeling like they might open up to everybody because that's what the other countries are doing, and that's what they're following. They're actually following these other countries like Thailand that are opening up to a lot of people. And they're not putting a lot of restrictions on people in some of these countries too. So let's hope that that happens here because right now we're kind of restrictive still. But we are open, but it is opening up because we are sitting in restaurants. More things are happening. Restaurants have more people sitting in there, less people eating outside. We still have to have a vaccine card to sit down and eat, but still, it's something. Let's see. JM says, when can I go to the Philippines? And are you worried that prices will go in the Philippines when Joe starts going there? I don't know. I don't think. I know we're gonna have American soldiers here pretty soon. That's what they're talking about if they're not already in country already. And I've heard that we already have some that are on base already here. I haven't heard from anybody seeing any of these soldiers, so I heard that they're keeping them on base right now for whatever reason. But there are American military here already. The question is, how many? But I don't think that'll raise prices over here at all. No. Steele says, things are getting better. Yes. Smoky Mountain Modeler, you were early. Yeah, I come on a little bit early tonight. I'm actually going to be on vacation tomorrow, so we're probably going to do about an hour, maybe about an hour and 10 minutes tonight. So we'll see. Let's see. Philip Jones says, good morning from Cleveland. Did they define soon? No, they did not. Unfortunately, they didn't, Michael. But, when they were talking on it, it sounds like something's going to happen probably within the next month or two. But they didn't say how quickly. I got a feeling maybe we might see something before Christmas. I got a feeling because they don't let out news like that unless there's something coming up fairly soon, So that's good news. Jeeves says, hard frost and seasonably 50 degrees would be nice to visit when they open up. That's 50s. I could go with 50s right now, believe it or not. John Allen says, good morning, Steve. How you doing, John? RC in Jacksonville. I'll be there December 10th, hoping quarantine is gone before I land. I heard the quarantine was lowered the other day, but I haven't verified that yet. Somebody said it was down to 2 days, but I don't think that that's true yet. I don't think that's true yet. I haven't seen any news of that, but it could be. I just haven't followed up. I've been busy getting ready to do some things I've been doing, so I haven't been able to follow up on that. Let's see. John Miller says, thanks, Steve, for the info from our phone conversation. No problem, John. That's no problem at all. You guys know that whenever you guys have a question or something, you can always email me at Steven5975 and get my phone number, and always call me if you have a question or whatever. Especially if it's a long question. And if I can't answer it on here, I can answer it over the phone or whatever. I'll spend as long as it takes. So Michael L says, Singapore is already open to the fully vaccinated. Just have to upload your vaccination record and receive acknowledgement before your flight. That's pretty good, though. Let's see. Darren Cooper says, I look 10 pounds lighter. Me and Darren, we just went to get a haircut today, so I look like I got my ears lowered. Let's see. Smoky Mountain Modeler, any videos posted while on vacation? Yes, I will be doing some videos on vacation. If I can upload them, I will actually post those immediately. I probably will be able to post those. Yes. I'm gonna probably cut like maybe as many as 6 videos down there if I can. I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna promise, but I'm gonna try because I will be on vacation. At least 4 I'll do for sure. So people, let's see. Dan Moore says, where are you going on vacation? I'm going to Tanza Oasis. It's actually about 2 towns away. I did a couple of videos from there quite a ways back, a long ways back, and it's a really nice place with a pool. You can sit by the pool. It's got a bar by the pool, and they have a restaurant there. They serve you out by the pool, and you can have a pina colada or whatever, and just sit in the sun and just enjoy yourself. And there's nice breezes blowing through that place too, which is kind of nice. And they have nice rooms there too. Let's see. RC in Jacksonville says 6 nights right now. Okay. Florida to Philippines. The face shield needs to go completely. I agree. I agree with that. We were just talking about that today. That it'd be nice. I was talking with a friend of mine about that the face shields need to go. I think that everything needs to go, to be honest with you. I would prefer to just go, without anything, without the diaper and everything. I call it the diaper. JM says, do you think that if you had discovered the Philippines when you were younger, like in your early 30s, do you think you would have moved earlier to the Philippines? It's funny that you asked that, JM, because here's the thing. I did discover it in my 20s. I was actually over here in my 20s, okay? I was married to a Filipino before. So I've had a long-time love affair with the Philippines for quite a long time. It was actually in my 20s that I was over here the first time, okay? I mean, first time I came here was in Iloilo, Boracay, Aklan, all that area. And, and I was over here a couple times during that time too. So I mean, I've been in and out of the Philippines. I know the Philippines really, really well. A lot of people think like I'm a newbie here, and a lot of people have accused me of being a newbie. Only saying, "Oh, Steve, you've only been here for 4 years." They don't know about the other times I've been here too, and the fact that I was married to a Filipino before. So, but a lot of the guys, they accuse me of being a newbie when I probably have more time in the Philippines than them, and probably more knowledge in the Philippines than some of those guys. I'm not trying to brag, but I'm just saying that's just the truth of it. Because a lot of the older guys that say, well, I got 20 years here, you don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't matter how much, in 2 years you can pick up everything here. In probably about a year and a half, you'll have a really good run in knowledge of the Philippines. Anybody will. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to pick up the knowledge that I have. You'll pick it up on your own. I mean, some things I research and stuff, I might have a little bit more knowledge that way. But I mean, in reality, everybody can have the same amount of knowledge that most vloggers have, probably in about a year and a half to 2 years. So, see, Ken Roach says, hi, Steve, hope you are doing well. We are doing well in Cebu province. How you doing, Ken? Welcome aboard, man. I see you on here a few times before. So yeah, Brit in Saigon, how often in your experience do Filipinos hit you for loans, handouts, particularly in the last year? You know what, I've very few times, probably like once or twice, and that's about it. And usually those people paid me back because they know me. And most people know that I won't just give out loans. I just don't hand out loans willy-nilly. I just don't do it. Not too many people have asked me for money. See, Zane Underwood says, hey, Steve, coming at you from Pacific Northwest, from Oregon, hoping all is well. I was wondering if you noticed rents in the Philippines changing at all lately. No. Nope, not in my area. In my area, that's the one thing about Cavite, the province of Cavite, is it's virtually kind of untouched. Other areas have gone up a little bit, but we haven't. And that's why I tell people this is the area for expats. A lot of people say, well, are there a lot of expats there? No, that's why it's the reason to come here. And we could absorb a lot of expats here with no issues. So, let's see. Ken Roach says, but it's raining hard here, almost typhoon type of storm. Yeah, not right here though. We're pretty dry right now, but yeah, we do have a long rainy season here, Ken. Let's see. Crypto Trucker says, MIDI now, MIDI now, MIDI now. I don't know. MIDI now, we must be saying. Steve Gill. Hi, Steve. I have a Chase banking account here in the U.S. and debit card. Can I use that to draw money out of Chase Bank in Manila? Well, okay. With the debit card, yes, as long as you tell them. But I want you to know that if you walked in there, I believe the banking accounts are different because you have to have an international account to withdraw money over here. It's not the same. You may want to talk to your bank about that because from what I've heard, like if you open an account in the U.S., a lot of people think, well, you can. It's the same thing. You can just walk into Chase Bank over here and it's the same. It's not. It's not attached to. It won't be. You have to have an account over here too. It makes it easier for you to wire money between Chase there and Chase here. Okay, so I just want you to be aware of that because we had a guy. He opened up a Citibank back in the States, and then he opened up one over here. And he transferred money between the two. We actually have a couple people that have done that. And they told me that you have to have an international account with a lot of money in it, by the way, to do it the way that you're thinking it works. But yes, your ATM card would work over here. And you should tell your bank that you're going to be in the Philippines. Make sure you do that. And make sure that you have no issues with that. And also, guys, one of the ways to transfer money very easily, and I want to make sure people are aware of this. A lot of people say that Western Union is very costly. Let me tell you something. I transfer most of my money over here between my bank account back home and my bank account here, which are two different banks. One's a credit union, one's BDO. And I transfer it from my bank back home to my bank over here by Western Union. Okay? And if you keep it in increments of like less than 1,000, you'll be okay. Okay, it's not an issue. And they don't charge that much for the international. It's mostly the domestic that they really hit you up hard for. I sent $20 the other day to a friend of mine, and it cost me $6 to send $20 domestically in the U.S. because I sent it from my account in the U.S. to him to pick it up, and it was $6. I thought that was a little bit high, but when you go internationally, it's the cost is really not that high. I don't want to be a cheap Charlie for the service I get. They're transferring my money from dollars to pesos, plus they're transferring my money from the U.S. to the Philippines. So I'm getting two services, few extra dollars for a good service. And I find Western Union very good. I know a lot of people said they've had issues. You can usually iron those issues out. I know in the beginning you do because they want to check to make sure you're not getting scammed or something. But you can work it out. I've always worked it out with Western Union by calling them. Never had a problem. And that's thanks to Magic Jack. So, you are going to have problems when you start sending money. In the beginning, you will. And you're going to have to learn to work those out. And if you watch my videos on those, you'll be fine. I mean, I could go into that deeper, but there's a lot of, it gets kind of convoluted. So, but it is an interesting subject about talking about money because there's so many different ways to send money over here. Let's see. Smoky Mountain Model says, my friend in Davao said they got rid of the shield and dividers in the local mall. Also, he saw more foreigners walking around. I've noticed the more foreigners walking around. I've noticed that they've filled up all the restaurants with the seats. They're still at 50% capacity at most places, but I think that's going to be pretty much 100% pretty soon. I can see it coming. Hopefully it's before Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving I usually have a bunch of friends together. We usually do something. I invite everybody for Thanksgiving, and I want to do something for this Thanksgiving and have a bunch of friends with me. I really enjoy doing it. That's my favorite thing is Thanksgiving. So hopefully this year we'll have a good Thanksgiving. And we got a new guy here now, Darren, too, and he's going to be there probably too. So it should be fun. We'll have a lot of fun. Philip Jones says, we are at a point that the virus needs to take its course. Pretty much all countries had their time to get vaccine distributed. I agree. I think they should just stop it. Just stop this stuff, Let's see. Martin Harvey says, frost at night in UK, having my Hep A and B, let's see, Japanese E, etc. with the C jab, ready to start SRRV soon. We'll contact Mary Rose nearer the time. Mary Rose has stopped doing the EEDs for a while, except for the people that she's already working with, okay? Just temporarily. But you can still contact her. She'll talk to you, okay? But if you talked with her already about the EED, she'll still do you, okay? She'll still do it. So, let's see. Let's see. Crypto Trucker says the 70s and the cores. There you go. Lazy Larry says, hi, Stephen. Once again, I am at work. We'll just listen. Okay, Larry. Sounds good. It's good that you're listening, though. You know, so that's all you have to do anyway. I was actually thinking about doing a podcast where I could talk about different things, and I'm still thinking about doing a podcast separately, and open it up to other subjects too, maybe even to politics or something like that. I know people on here don't like politics, so I try to keep that out for the most part. But sometimes politics, we have to talk about it because it's the Philippines, and it does get pretty political over here sometimes. You know, we have to talk about China and stuff like that. People say, well, Steve, you're talking politics too much. Well, that's part of, this part of Asia is very political sometimes. So it's hard to stay off that subject, but sometimes we have to open it up. Let's see, we got 64 people, 23 thumbs up. Okay. Let's see. Mark, I guess we went from 24 to 23 because I talked political for a second. Mark Smith says, hey, Steve, I was looking into Thailand as an option since it's open, but it feels like Thai girls are not as warm and welcoming as Filipinas. I've heard that. Some people say that the Thai girls are actually prettier, but, I heard that they're colder. So I don't know. That's what I've heard. Jeff Assassins, it says message retracted. Okay, so I don't know what that's about. Michael L. can confirm you need an account in both places, and the Philippine account needs to be a dollar account. Yes. But Michael, I agree with you on that, Michael. But here's the thing. If you do have a Philippine account here, let's say I have a credit union, okay? Let me just explain this so people understand this. If I have a BDO peso account, not a dollar account, because you can have either a dollar account or a peso account over here. I have a peso account, okay? When I transfer from Western Union in dollars, they switch it over into pesos and put it into my account in pesos. So I mean, that's really good that I can have that peso account. And that's why I use Western Union, because I don't have to call up my bank and say, hey, can you do a wire transfer? It needs to be transferred over into pesos, all that stuff. Western Union does all that for me, and it's very simple. But you can only send so much per year and per quarter, things like that. So you have to kind of be careful and use your ATM card once in a while. I mean, I have a pretty decent income, and I still stay below the radar of Western Union, because I send some money to my girlfriend's account, I send some money to my account, and I use my ATM too. So between everything, I don't have any issues with Western Union at all. A couple times they've dragged it out. When I called them up, I asked them what's going on. They says, yeah, we think you might be getting scammed or something like that. I says, well, it's my girlfriend. I says, and I says, I sent it to her. You guys have seen it many, many times. I've sent it to her. And the lady says, well, we're worried. I says, well, she's here right next to me. Do you want to talk to her? I'm actually in the Philippines right now. And the lady's like, oh. And she was actually in Das Marinas, the lady that was talking to me for Western Union, which is kind of funny. So Philip Jones says, I have Wells Fargo and Navy Federal. I've been there about 25 times, never had a problem getting money. No, you should, and you shouldn't. If you plan well, guys, and you tell your bank that you're leaving the country for a while, don't tell your bank that you're moving out of the country, because then they'll shut down your account. You still need to have an address back in the States. Ken Roach, we butchered a pig, kept most and gave the rest to the neighbors, but I don't loan money because it will never be reimbursed, because they have a ton of excuses and to not pay it back. You're right. When it's never loan, it's give. I tell people, if you're gonna help somebody, just give it to them, because they're not gonna pay you back. In most cases, I mean, I know who will pay me back and who won't. So let's just say that, okay? Michael L., if you have an account in both places, you can do Swift wire transfer. Yes, you can. I do wire transfers through Western Union, and that's what works for me, So Western Union will do that for you, and their cost is not that much. If you put the 3 to 4 day thing on there, it actually gets there faster, because they have like little things where they say, we did it as a favor, we put it in there immediately, and things like that. If you use them more often, they do things like that for you. Western Union is really, really good for helping you out. That's one they appreciate. It's almost like a customer appreciation thing for you. Philip Jones says, always use the ATMs. Yeah, ATMs work, but you can only take out so much per day, unfortunately. For some people, you have to take out 200, 200, and 100 because most of the ATMs will only give you 200 at a time in pesos, 200 US. So it's like 10,000 pesos. Charles Akana, you could use Venmo. It's free for US money. Yeah, some of these places, they're free, but then they take forever to put it in the other person's account and stuff like that. It's kind of funny, but yeah, they have. I'm not sure if that's one of them, but they do have ones like that. Because the other day, somebody sent me some money. It took forever. It literally took 5 days. Let's see, Kevin Hanan. PayPal is one of the best ways for people if you're paying somebody. And this, I want to get into a different subject here for a second because if you're going to pay somebody like a friend or something like that, or if somebody's needs to transfer money from an account, they can pay it to you in PayPal, and then you can transfer it over your account and then take it out with ATM. And PayPal is a good way to pay people. If you're paying somebody in the Philippines and they have an account back in the U.S., you can just link it to. You can just tell them you're going to send it by PayPal if they have PayPal. And if they do, as long as they have PayPal, you can. It just goes automatic. It's really really quick and it's kind of nice. And it tells them automatically. It costs $1.50 for every 100 that you take out, or it will take 3 to 4 days if you do it the freeway, which I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? It's a service, and they hold your money to make a few pennies off of it or whatever. So let's see. Kevin Hanan says, good information, Steve. Waiting to get my feet there. Hit the thumbs up, people. Thanks, guys. 82 people, 37 thumbs up. Okay. Mark Smith says, try Remitly and you will see how bad Western Union is. That's the cheapest and best option. I've heard Remitly's good. It's not that, I don't think Western Union's bad. Some people have had, I'm not sure why, but they said that they didn't like it. I've never had an issue with Western Union, and I don't have a problem with paying them what they charge. And they don't really charge that much that I've seen. I mean, some people say, well, yeah, Steve, you're getting overcharged. I don't think it's that much. I don't pay that much. Let's see, how do we get a bank account to put in $20,000 for the SRRV visa when it's so difficult to get a bank account in the first place? Well, right now, the SRRV puts it in their account under the current conditions, and then later on you can move it to your account, but it's still under your name and everything. It's just kind of weird, funky the way that they're doing things right now because of the COVID, but later on, yeah, you move it over to your account. It's still, from what I heard anyway, that's the way it was working. But you can transfer it into your account. And you can also buy a condo with that money, but they put a lien against your condo as, until like you die, and then they take the lien off. Okay, that's like a safety measure, I guess. It's like a security, because it's kind of like a security account. So, and I'm not sure why they have 1,500 for one person, 10,000 for the next, and 20,000 for the next, but that's the way they do things here. But yes, when I open up my account here, when you open up that $20,000 SRRV account, okay, and pretty soon we're going to be opening up and we'll be back to normal, and you can open it with BDO or any of the other banks they have. Okay, what's going to happen is you can open up your account if you send them extra. You can talk to Mary Rose if you're going through Mary Rose, my person, and like I've told people, she only charges she doesn't charge anything. She gets paid by the PRA. They pay her, approximately 500, but she gets about 400 after they take out taxes. So I tell people, give her a little tip when she helps you, because she puts in a lot of work, especially with the current situation going on. Britton Saigon says, hi Steve, do you want to come to Vietnam? No. I'd like to go there to visit, though. It'd be kind of cool to visit, but maybe someday. We'll see what happens. Philip Jones says, if moving there, bring 10,000 with you, maximum. Yeah, not even a penny over go, otherwise they can take it away from you. For international, then make sure you don't run low with funds and keep the money flowing. Absolutely. Absolutely have some emergency money here. Have some money in the bank, have ATM cards. Make sure you have extra ID cards, and then you can always use Western Union so you can go pick up money here if you have to, if you lose your ATM cards or something. So if you have your IDs, always have extra IDs. That passport ID that the United States has is one of the best IDs to have. God forbid you lose your passport here in the Philippines. That passport ID, you can walk into the American embassy here with that and tell them you lost your passport, but you still have your passport ID to prove that you're an American citizen. That's the greatest thing about that. I know it's only good for Canada and Mexico and for the Caribbean, but it's a good card to have and also to use to get into the embassy here because it proves you're an American citizen. Okay? So just FYI, when I tell people to get that extra passport ID card, get it. Get it. By all means, get it. It's well worth it. I don't know what it costs now. I think it's like $60 or $100 or something like that. Get it. It's worth it. It's good for 10 years, okay? Let's see. Kevin Workman says, life is good and will become far better once boots are on the ground in the Philippines. Whiteboard is in overdrive. That's good, Kev. The whiteboard, I did a video about that, I think within the past couple of weeks. That whiteboard's key and was always key. It was nice. I took a picture of my whiteboard like a day or two before I left, and it was like 3 things to check off on there, and they were all like things about my luggage, put my luggage downstairs and all that stuff, what to do, and do this and do that, and make sure you call this person or that person, let people know this or whatever. There was like 3 things on the board, and I can't make out what it says on there, but it's just funny to look at that board still to this day and what it felt like on that day, because that board was filled at one point. And I almost had a paper that I had filled up too. It was so many things I had to do, and all that stuff got wiped out, and it was like such a relief on the day that I left. It felt really, really good. Let's see. Roger Miller says, good evening, Steve. How you doing, Roger? Welcome aboard. Ken Roach, I always use Western Union. It's about $9 every transaction, but it is almost in minutes you can receive it. Plus, I have a copy of the transfer. Yeah, that's why I like. Some people, they like other transfer companies and stuff like that, or whatever you want to call them, fintech companies. I'm okay paying those transactions. It's not about cheapness. It's about the way the company treats you. And also sometimes I get some free times too because I get points off Western Union. And sometimes they throw me those bonuses where instead of taking 3 to 4 days, like I said, I get it within 2 hours. So that's the good part about using Western Union. It shows they appreciate you. And I appreciate that when a company appreciates me. It's just a good thing. And I took notice of that. Sperlin Edwards says, hello from Frost on the Ground, Connecticut. There we go. I missed that area. That's where I went to submarine school, was New London, Connecticut, and Groton. See, Brian H., it says, message retracted. Rocky Pac-Man says, hi, Stephen from Boston, Massachusetts, but living here in Cebu. New subscriber. How you doing, Stephen? I'm from Boston, too, from the Lawrence area. I used to, my dad lived in Chelsea, and I had family in Everett and Revere. And I used to drive in all around Boston, Somerville, Cambridge, all that area. So Andy Lee says, do you have to leave your $20K in the development bank account, or can you transfer it to a new account once you open one there? I think later on you can move it out of the PRA account once all this COVID stuff is over. I think they're going to let people move it into your but it'll be in your name, but it'll still be a security account that the PRA has to give permission for you to use. Just FYI, okay? But yeah, I think that comes later. You can ask Mary Rose about that more. I'm not really that up on that, but I believe that's what I was told, okay? You can transfer it later on, okay? So Gurkha9 says, do you know Western Union limits on number of transfers per quarter or dollar amounts? I transfer a lot. I transfer probably 2,000 a month, somewhere around there, or more. Actually more. And it's about 3,000 a month, actually. 3,000 a month, and they never bother me. Never have bothered me. So I don't think it's an issue, Let's see, do you know what, let's see. Jason Will, I agree on Remitly. It's very fast and never had a problem. Yeah, for some people, Remitly might be worth it, Let's see. Brooke Snyder says he's late to the party. Brooke's going to be moving here to Tracy Martirez, and he just sent me a bunch of stuff not too long ago. We still got some of it around here, but a lot of it we ate already. We've been eating the nuts and everything else. He sent me a lot of good food, sardines and everything. Thanks for that, Brooke. I really appreciate that. That was very much appreciated. And everything that you sent, believe it or not, went to good use. All of it. Every single thing in that package is used and was actually needed, which is kind of funny. So it worked out really good. Thank you for that. Brian H says greetings from Virginia. Metro Manila is opening more. My girlfriend is having a girls' weekend with her daughter at the I'm Hotel in Makati to include drinks, dinner, and rooftop bar. There we go. Rocky Pac-Man says, Stephen, what part of Massachusetts are you from? Rocky, I'm originally from Billerica, but I lived in Lawrence, Massachusetts a good chunk of my life. Probably like about more than 20 years I lived in, about 20 years probably, I lived in Lawrence, Massachusetts. And, I liked it and I didn't like it. There's good things about Lawrence and there's bad things about Lawrence. And, overall, was my experience good? I think it paid off that I went there and I enjoyed it there. Let's see, now we're up to 93 and 45 thumbs up. Thanks, guys. Red Ranger, flights are sky high from Dallas to Manila. Let's see, via American Airlines. I checked in November, February, and average price range is $3,400. Round trip, one-stop Japan. You want to know something, guys? I was looking for flights going back to Boston just to see what the prices were tonight. And I found flights in there for like $700 and $800, not round trip, okay? But $700 and $800. So I mean, round trip would have been even cheaper, I would think. But that was the flight from here back to Boston. Let's see. Miklosh Ben, Israel. There we go. We got Israel on board here tonight. Philip Jones, be careful using PayPal. Never leave a balance in PayPal. If they have a problem with a transaction, they will put you on limited access, which allows them to freeze your money for 180 days. I've actually used PayPal for years and years and years since I had an eBay store, and I've done pretty good with them. Yeah, I'd never left a balance on there. I transferred it as soon as it went in there anyway. But sometimes I'd have a small balance. I usually had like a couple $100 or something, or $1,000. Justin in Arkansas, looks like I will make it there by Christmas. Mary Rose says I am in batch 7 and about 3 more weeks for EED. Then whatever time the consulate takes. Yeah, the consulate's giving some people a hard time in California, just FYI. I don't know why. We have one guy, he was given a hard time, and he's dealing with it right now. But, I mean, some people are getting a hard time, some people aren't. So, but it'll work out. So far, we've gotten everybody through. But be aware that, when you're doing an SRRV, expect problems. But we work through it, and Mary Rose is very good at what she does, Michael L. says, make sure you use an ATM in the bank. Third-party ATMs in Southeast Asia are rife with skimmers. Yes, use it in a bank or use it in a mall inside. That's what I say. I use the ones inside SM just because they have cameras on them and stuff. So SM has lots of ATMs, but they're in hidden spots in some of the stores. You have to kind of seek them out and find them. Most SMs, not all of them. Brooks Snyder said, I've had good luck with Wise. Next day an account low fees. Crypto Trucker says, loaning money in the Philippines be like loaning money to my kids. It's gone. Yeah, that's true. Let's see. Don Murphy says, good morning from Vancouver. We got a lot of Canucks on here. Canadians. Let's see. From Vancouver, Canada, I used Western Union for years, but after time started giving me a hard time, answer this and that, I switched to Remitly. You want to know something? I had that problem too for a while with them, Don, but once I told them what I was doing and what was going on, the lady told me she was going to make a note on my account. And since then, I haven't had any problems. So they will work with you, some people, but some people, remember, you're working with people in the Philippines, and some of those people have worked for them for a short time, and they don't know what they're doing, and others have. It depends who you talk to. But most of the people that you talk to at Western Union are Filipinos. So be aware of that, So, and some of them just don't have the running knowledge of what they're doing. But if you talk to them, generally they take care of you, Mark O'Hare, I would also consider the exchange rate, as some do give up the best rate on US dollars to PHP. They give me that rate, and that's the only thing that they take out is that, and it's like a 0.5% or whatever it is. It's a tiny amount. So I really don't, that doesn't bother me. Let's see. Michael L. says, so if you've already contacted Mary Rose waiting on my medical appointment, she will finish with us. If you already contacted Mary Rose and you're working with her, yes. If you're doing the EED with her already, then you're good, Michael. Okay, if you've already contacted her and she started working with you and your name's on the list, then you're good. Don't worry about it. You should be good. Okay, it's new people, totally new people that she hasn't talked to. If you talked to her in the past and she has a email from you already, then it should be good. Okay, yeah, don't worry about that. She's already she talked to me about that yesterday. She says I'm gonna finish the people that we've already started working with. She's good. So I mean, she's going to continue working with people sooner or later, but the EED process, she's trying to get some things fixed and get them to be aware of the problems with the EED. So I just want people to be aware of that. Just, you know, she eventually this EED stuff is going to go away, and people will just come over on the regular tourist visa, and we'll do it the old way. And you know, you're still going to have to do the money transfers and stuff like that from the States, but you can do your medical in the Philippines. Okay, so all that stuff goes away, but the apostles still need to be done on the other stuff, like the police report and the pensions. But you won't need an apostle in the medical because they'll probably do it in the Philippines at some point again. So hopefully we'll see. I mean, I think things are going to change back probably within the next 2 or 3 months if things get lifted. We'll see. The Corpsman says, Western Union took money, 122 never delivered, said money, then canceled me when I had the nerve to complain. Yeah, I've heard a few complaints like that, but that's few. I mean, all the companies I've heard from different people have had different reasons for complaining about each company, and I'm not sure what the reasons are, but I mean, I know I've had complaints even with Western Union, but they've always treated me right when it came time to complain or something. They've treated me good. Jason Will, I was using Zoom for a long time, but I switched to Remitly. It's best for right now, my opinion, but things always change. C3 says, are there Bitcoin ATMs in the Philippines? There probably are, but I don't know where they are. I don't know. You could probably look that up online. I've never seen any. I think there is. I think I heard something about one here, but I'm not sure. Maybe at the airport. Rocky Pac-Man says, I parked my car in Harvard Yard. Yes, I do. I used to hang around Harvard Square. I used to see some of the singers down there. They had some good street musicians down there. Avert Activity says, hi, Steve, just dropping in to give a like. God bless. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Let's see, Tom Garvin says, hi, Steve, from Bozeman, Montana. Do you think the Philippines will open before the time necessary to obtain the SRRV? Do I think it will open before the time? You mean for the EED, I think you're talking about. It's hard to say. It's really, really hard to say because I wouldn't even want to comment on that really. I do think we're going to open within 2 months. Will the EED get you in here faster? Probably, maybe. It's hard to say. It might get you in at the same time, you know. And when they do open, don't forget they still might have some sort of restrictions on some tourists. You know, they might tell you can only go to certain areas like Palawan or Boracay, and you might not be able to leave those areas. That's what they might be talking about. Let's see how they open up first, you know, because there might be restrictions on tourism too. So I mean, just be aware of that. I don't think the doors are just gonna fly open, but they could. I'm hoping that they will follow the other countries that have done that. But I mean, I don't know. But the palace, the way that they were talking, sounds like something's pretty imminent pretty soon. The question is how imminent and when. But I think before Christmas. I think before Christmas we're going to hear something about something happening. Because that guy that was talking, he was talking mostly in Filipino, so I really didn't know what was going on. But I did see the clip, and it's kind of interesting, you know. Let's see. Florida to the Philippines, as always. Great info, Steve. Love your daily videos. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Let's see. We got 97 people, 58 thumbs up. Alan Forrest says, hi, I would like your opinion. Should I wait for borders to open or go for the 9A visa and intend to retire in the Philippines? Well, the 9A is only for SRRV people, Alan. Okay, and right now, Mary Rose has stopped doing the EED, so it'd be an expensive venture. So I would wait for the borders to open and then do the SRRV, because once you get the SRRV, you never have to leave. Okay, and that's why I tell people that's worth it. I mean, a lot of people say, well, it's a lot of money. But, you know, if you can't afford that, then you probably shouldn't be coming to the Philippines in the first place, you know, because you need to have some money in the bank. And also if you're ex-military, even if as long as you got an honorable discharge and you just served, even if it's just for a short time, as long as you have an honorable discharge, you're good. You can come in here and for $1,400 application and $1,500 security, you can get the SRRV and pay $10 per year thereafter. It's well worth it. Well worth it. Let's see. We got 99 people, 58 thumbs up. Let's see. Michael L. Michael Shiba was always joke currency. Try Monero instead. Yeah, Shiba goes up and down. I don't know. I'm not sure what to believe about Shiba. You know, I'm not. I invested a little bit into that, and I've done with Cordero and Litecoin. I did really well a long time ago. Tom Godwin says, do all the documents needed for the SRV need to be both notarized and apostilled, even the DD-214? Whatever the ones that Mary Rose says need to be notarized and apostilled, yes. Including the DD-14 needs to be done by the State Department. It needs to be apostilled. So, as far as the medical, though, I want to speak to this a little bit. We've been talking about this medical thing going back and forth here about how to get it notarized, because some doctors' offices, if you're doing the SRRV, okay, let me just say this here about the SRRV. If you're doing the notary on the SRRV medical form, you can just do a sworn statement, and that should be fine, okay, in most states, okay? But some states might say no, but try it if you can't get it notarized by the doctor, okay? Gary Burkhardt says, hey, Steve, I'm looking for that video about the whiteboard, but can't seem to find it. Want to share it. Do you recall the title? I don't. No, it was within the past, probably 3 weeks. Probably within the past 3 weeks, Gary. Okay? I would say probably within the past 2 weeks, I think. Just look, if you go through my videos, you'll see them. Okay? If you go by time, it should be in the past 2 or 3 weeks. Hello from Chengdu, Sichuan province of China. 22:22 right now. There we go. Atomic Vagrant says, did I just hear you say you are a fellow bubblehead? Yep, I was on submarines. I was on submarines. That is true. Daniel Narenberg says, Dan from Tennessee, thank you for all the information you put out. It's great, been very helpful. Keep up the great work. Thanks, Dan. Let's see. Dan says, have a great vacation, well deserved. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll be down in Tanza Oasis, and I like that place. Philip Jones says, I used PayPal for a long time. I tagged my kids' iTunes to it, and they froze my account. And I tried to cancel my account, and to this day, I can't even delete my bank accounts from there. Wow. That's crazy. That's kind of strange, but I've always had luck with PayPal, but I'm very protective of my account. Rocky Pac-Man says, I booked a ticket from Manila to Boston, round trip, $1,200. I want to go back to Boston for the holidays to do some skiing and snowmobiling. There you go. Yeah, $1,200. That's a pretty good deal. But I saw him for $700 or $800. That's not bad. Let's see. Lazy Larry says, Stephen, we fleet sailors called subsailors bubbleheads and always heard that you called us targets. That's right, man. You got that right. Daniel Narenberg says, try Philippines Airlines, found round trip to Nashville, Tennessee. United Airlines is the place where I looked and I saw cheap tickets on there. I was just curious as to what they were, and they were very cheap in March. I was looking in March. Philip Rogers, I used Western Union when I lived in Manila in 2011 every other week for a year. Never had a problem. Corman FMP says, is gold available retail, coins, or bullion in the PI? Yes, it is. The best way to get gold here is probably through pawn shops. And you can get jewelry fairly cheap. And it's not that much over the price of gold to get used necklaces and things like that. Because I actually bought a necklace that way. But as far as coins and bullion, you can do it, but it's very, very hard. And there's certain rules and guidelines from what I understand. It's just very difficult, you know. So I wouldn't even bother with it over here. Same with silver. It's hard to get stuff like that. And I kind of hate the fact that that's true, but it is. The best way to do it is go to a pawn shop, and you'll get the best prices on gold you'll get anywhere over here. See, Lee and Blair say, I doubt there is Bitcoin ATMs in the Philippines. There's not even normal ATMs that have money in them. Yeah, most of them, they always have out of service or something like that. Some of them, I won't say most of them, but a lot of them. Some days you'll find that they're just all empty, and I'm not sure why. Jason Will says there are about 8 Bitcoin ATMs in Manila. That's interesting. I never knew that. That's interesting to know, Jason. Thanks for sharing that. I figured there might have been 1 or 2, but 8, that's pretty good. C3 says 20K is literally 1/3 of a Bitcoin. So not hard. See, USA to Philippines Life. Good evening, Steve. Great live stream as usual. Going great with Saturday morning coffee. Ben Bean says, think they should wait till things open up, then go on tourist visa. See if they like it first before going SRRV route. I agree with you, man. Yeah, I think anybody should come here first and know what they're getting themselves into, and at least live here for like 3 months. And if you don't get frustrated after that, then you're going to be here okay. Because let me tell you something. When you come here, your first 3 months, your first 2 months at least, are going to be hell. Opening accounts, things like that. They put you through like this ringer trying to open accounts here, and they make it very difficult. And it doesn't matter whether, people say, well, don't open at BDO, open at this bank. No, it doesn't matter. It's all the banks that give you a hard time, and each bank branch has its own rules, and don't know. Most of the managers do not know all the rules to the banks. They just don't have a clue. They put a lot of people in charge that don't have any idea of how to manage a bank, and it causes a lot of problems when an expat tries to open an account over here. They make it very, very, very difficult. It takes 2 hours to open an account, and then it might take 2 months before you can use your account, because they want to see a copy of your passport, and your passport might be with the PRA, Philippine Retirement Authority, or something, or being held up. If you have your passport, then you can open your account faster. There's all kinds of rules. Everything's difficult, and I tell people, don't expect everything to be easy in the Philippines, because if anything, it's quite the opposite. You have to have a lot of patience to live here. So that's one thing I'll say about the Philippines. Tim H says, hi Steve, Tampa, Florida in the house. Let's see. Tom Garvin says, how long does it take to get the DD-214 notarized from the State Department? I'm hearing about 6 to 8 weeks, Tom. But I'm not sure if the State Department has a speed thing that you can do on it. You can pay a few bucks extra. You can look on the site. I haven't been on there in a while. I know some of those sites will let you speed it up or something if you pay like a little bit extra. But I'm not sure if the State Department has that. I remember for the FBI report, when I did my FBI report, I went on one of the companies that they allowed to do the FBI reports, and that was faster, and I got it like within 2 weeks versus waiting like about 6 to 8 weeks through the FBI. So it depends. So Wendell Davenport says, hi Steve, waiting for things to open up here. Have a good night. Tampa strong. There we go, man. Tim H, I think the Philippines will open in January. I think you're probably about right, in some capacity. Justin in Arkansas says, I even had my state vaccine record and separate state health department COVID vax printout, both notarized and apostilled. It actually might be a good idea, man. Brooke Snyder says, no millennial talks up gold. Bitcoin is there. One to hodl. Do your research and open up a Coinbase account to start. I already got a Coinbase. Actually, I've got a lot of free coins off them too. I got about $70, I think, off of Coinbase just in free coins. So, Rocky Pac-Man says, don't forget where I grew up. Plymouth, Massachusetts, the hometown where pilgrims landed. Let's see. Actually, Rocky, my family is the Johnson Alden family. So we actually have some ties to that. And we actually have one other tie somehow, according to one of my cousins. So we have 2 ties to the Mayflower. Okay, so between John Alden, because my grandmother's son, his name was John Alden. Okay, and it was named after John Alden from the Mayflower. So because of the long line. But there's a break in that family tree. They can never find there's like a break in that family somewhere. But we're pretty much sure that we go back to the Aldens on the Mayflower, in the Alden side of my family. Francisco Fleta says, the SRRV for me was the longest, most time-consuming process. Second longest was driver's license, but PRA helped me with the driver's license. Yes, they do. They do help you with the driver's license, guys. The PRA is very, very helpful with a lot of things. and so aren't the agents that like Mary Rose. Um, yes, the SRRV is very daunting. It's kind of sad because a lot of the older people have to go through that, and we've been complaining about that, and we've believe me, our opinions have been voiced. They know that it's starting to bother a lot of the older people, especially people with high blood pressure. A lot of them can't take it, and it can be very daunting. So we got 105 and 70 thumbs up. David Johnson. Let's see, that was actually my uncle's name, David Johnson. See, I got my FBI report in 1 hour. If you sign up, then pay $50 at the post office, digital fingerprints, you will get your report very quick. I've never heard that. That's interesting. David, if you can send me the information on that, I'd love to know the information on that. If you could send me that an email at Stephen5975. Stephen is with a V. Stephen5975 at yahoo.com. I've never heard that before. That's kind of interesting. I'd like to know, like, because most post offices don't have that I know of. It must be certain ones. Tom Garvin says, you mentioned you did the FBI background check. I'm doing a state background check. Will that be okay? Yes. It's either or. It's either or, Tom. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's a police report or an FBI check. It's okay. It can even be an Interpol if the PRA allows it, okay? So if you have something on your record, you can ask them to do an Interpol check, and they usually will. Like if there's a DUI or something like that on there, or something stupid, something minor, and it's not like an assault or something like that, then they can do an Interpol check, and what it usually comes back negative, so you don't have to worry. A lot of people get worried because of some of the things that they have on their thing. If you ask them to do an Interpol check, then they'll do that, and they'll submit that one instead, and you'll be okay. In most cases. I can't speak to everyone, okay? Liam Blair says, everything is difficult in the Philippines. LOL, 2 days, no water, brownout. Yep, it's true for some places. We're lucky here. We get occasional internet, 1 minute glitches or something like that, and that can be kind of a pain in the butt. But other than that, we do pretty good here, But Liam Blair, that's correct. We have water outages at from 12 to 3:30 a.m. We have no water. Every night they shut down the water for whatever reason. See, White Van Man, haha, I was 70. Let's see. Gary Burkhart says, I called all agencies about possible expedites. No one is offering the service due to being shorthanded by the situation. Yeah, the situation. And that is a big situation, man. Everybody's shorthanded in the U.S. Now they're inundating us with people from, Central America and stuff like that. And, I don't mind people coming in from Central America, but, come in the right way. I don't like this thing where they're just letting people walk over the border. That's just my thoughts on that. But, see, please, C3 says, please give us the contact info for Mary Rose. Thank you. C3, if you could contact me at Stephen5975, okay, Stephen5975 at yahoo.com, and just ask me in the email, and I'll send it to you within the next probably 24 hours. Okay, I'm getting ready to go on vacation, so if it takes a little bit longer than that, just bear with me. But I will get to it. I promise you, I will get to it. Okay. I'll probably get to it tomorrow night. Okay, just FYI. Let's see. Good evening, Jean says. Jean Lamb. Jean's on here quite often. She's a good person. See, Tom Garvin says, what I'm worried about is that the charge I'm dealing with is a stalking charge. It's not what it appears, but I'm worried that the charge will be a problem. A stalking charge. You're kind of losing me on that one, Tom. David Johnson says, they will tell you where you can get digital prints after you sign up. Okay, that's interesting. So you can actually get your FBI report at, David, am I understanding you right, at any post office? Is that something new? That's pretty cool if that's true. Jack Eisman, what type of criminal background check is needed? Where in the states do you get one? State or federal? Do I contact my local police department or what? In most cases, it's with your local police department. In some states, it's your local county sheriff's department. But you can also do myfbireport.com, which brings you to the news site. It's like MBI something, but it's not MBI in the Philippines. It's the FBI to do your FBI report, okay? But you can go to your local police department. They'll usually tell you where you can get it. If they don't, because some states do it differently, each state is different, but at most places you can go to the local police department and ask them how do you get a copy of your police report, and they'll get it for you. If you move around a lot, then it might be worth for you to get an FBI report. And if you do have something minor on there, I'm going to say this again, that if it's like a DUI or something like that, then they'll probably the PRA will still work with you, okay? But then it might be worth doing an Interpol, which will show that it's not on there or something. It just won't show that because they usually don't put that on there. So, but they're willing to work with you, or if you show that you went to school, drunk school or something like that, just FYI, because we've had a few people that we've had to work with that, and they work with you. Like I said, as long as it's not assault. Spanish 2001. Hello from Jacksonville, Florida. Mark Richards says, in the U.S., we can dig a well and drink the water. Do you know if anyone drinks well water? Do they have well drillers over there? Yes, they do. I'm sure some places have them because I know some places do have wells. Okay, David Johnson says, no, not any. You missed my other text. Okay, I'm not sure what I missed. You can rewrite it. Let's see. I am near Indianapolis. There we go. Corman FMF says Biden administration is refusing to screen illegal aliens arrested and released. I believe it. I believe that. It's getting crazy in the United States. I'm glad I'm not back there. I'll be honest with you. I'm really, really glad I'm not in the States right now. Because that would just, my stress level would be off the charts right now with what's going on in the States. I just couldn't live with that. Gunny John says there are only 140 post offices in the USA that have the electronic fingerprinting, none in Massachusetts. Okay. All right. That's interesting, though, that the fact that some places have it. So some post offices have it. That's something I didn't know. That must be something new within the past 4 years or whatever. So I never heard about that when I was there. White Van Man, Filipino vlogger, has just dug a well, and she is waiting for it to be tested to drink. I heard that the water here is not the greatest, the groundwater anyway. Let's see. Is Steven spelled Steven? It's spelled with a V. C3, it's spelled with a V, and it's 5975 at yahoo.com. Okay, Steven, 5975 at yahoo.com. That's my email, okay? Let's see. What type of financial paperwork is required? You need to show that you have a pension. If you don't have a pension, then you have to put up more money. But yeah, you can. It's easy enough to do. Okay, but yeah, you need to show a pension. They want some sort of thing, and possibly they're gonna need to see your bank account to show that it's going into your account. Okay, that's usually what they ask for. Tom Garvin says they will accept local police background check rather than a state police check. They will accept any of the above. They don't really care. They're not really that picky at the PRA. Either local or state police or county sheriff or FBI. Okay, those four places, they'll take it. So, and my FBI report, even that comes directly from the FBI, but it's through one of their agents. Okay, and they're fast. They're really fast. Okay, they're about 2 weeks if you do the rush one. But I don't know about this other thing that these people are talking about on here. That's something new that I've just become aware of. So I don't know that much about that. I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit more. And when I find out more, I'll let you guys know. See, Toward Jack, I'm coming there eventually. However, I don't have the means that you have. However, I'm not a right ref or scammer, beggar, etc. I just live very modestly. I survived years on a budget. Yeah, some people, man, they come over here and they survive on a very low budget, but then they get sick or something like that. That's what kills you. Because you have a heart attack over here or a stroke or you don't take care of your blood pressure, because everything's salty over here, especially if you have a Filipino girlfriend and she's cooking salty foods. That's the problem, your blood pressure. And sometimes it's the blood pressure from the banks that you deal with or stuff like that. Because if you're not a very patient person, your blood pressure will go up a little bit over here. I'm just being honest on that. It's the truth. Francisco Fletes says, my last duty station was Hawaii. Great thing about Hawaii is that they do background check strictly online. You can print it out. It has a QR code with certification by Attorney General. That's actually pretty cool. So I wonder how they do the fingerprints, though. I guess they don't do it. I would guess. Heidi R. Greetings from the messed up state of California. I like that. I've I've heard so much about California in the past couple of days and how messed up they are. That is so true. You don't even know. If you knew my past week about dealing with California stuff, you would you'd know why I feel that way. We've been dealing with a couple of people doing the EED for the SRRV, and let me tell you something. California has a really, really bad name with me. You know, wow. Dan Royals, USAA, worked there in Angeles. I would believe so, yes. I've heard good things about them. Justin in Arkansas, I had my small town chief of police do the check and letter in 10 minutes. It helps that I have been on city council for years and see the chief every week. That helps. Yeah, if you could do it, man. You know, all they want is a letter, you know, with your check, you know. So, a Brit in Saigon saw a docu a couple years back about wells and pH drinking in Washington and getting sick to illegally dumped and untreated chemical industrial waste. You know, most places in the Philippines, if you're out in like the provinces or even like where I live, there's not that much chemical waste around here. I mean, where I live, it's all woods and jungle. So I think we'd have a really, really good well here. But I mean, we're 423 feet up in the air. I'm sure we'd have to dig pretty deep before we hit water. Although about 100 feet down back here, we have a stream that goes by, a river actually. You know, and it's really nice down there. But I'm sure we have groundwater, but the ground here is hard as a rock. Michael L. California middle and high schools are de-emphasizing calculus in the name of diversity. The U.S. needs to learn from Singapore that meritocratic technocracy is better than so-called diversity any day. Yeah, this diversity stuff is just killing the U.S. It's just a bunch of baloney. That's my say on that, but that's just my say. Jay says, by pension, can it by Social Security? I don't have an actual pension doing 401k. Well, if you have an annuity and that's like a pension, you can do that. I would expect that the PRA would accept something like that, but usually they want an actual pension, I think. So yes, Social Security would work as long as you're making whatever it is for you. It's usually $1,000, I believe it is. Okay. Let's see. Tom Garvin, fingerprints are not required for the background check, right? In some background checks they are. Yes, for the FBI they are. And usually they tell you to send 2 sets in case one's smeared. So when you go to the police station, I had to go to the police station because I was doing the FBI report, and I had to get 2 sets of fingerprints, and they didn't like doing 2 sets of fingerprints for some reason, but they did it, and I sent them in, and then I got my FBI report. So I was happy. Let's see. Scott says, why is nobody interested in libertarianism? It's so much better. Yeah, I don't know, libertarianism has its ideas, and everybody, I agree with some of the ideas of libertarianism, by all means. Scott, filtered water is so cheap, may as well pay that 30 pesos. I agree, man. Filters here are so cheap. Like, you can buy a water filter and stick it on your faucet here and filter your own water. It's cheap money. You just got to change the filters every so often. As long as you change the filters, you're going to be fine. Let's see. Everill's on here. Tatum McField. A $200 a month. $200 a month supposed to come with air and in good condition, or you have to pay more than $250 for a better place. Everil, let me touch on this for a second. I think you're talking about rents. So if you get a place around here, and the ones I showed down the street here, and you can go back and look at those, they were $80 for a 1-bedroom, and they're beautiful little apartments. Okay, and just put the air in, and you're going to get your money's worth easily within a year, because rather than going out and you can make it your own. You know what I mean? We put a few locks on them, and we put a refrigerator in there and the furniture, but they can take the refrigerator when they leave and all that stuff. Let me tell you something, and just sign a 2-year lease or something. That's the way to do it. Michael L. says, individual excellence beats diversity any day. Sorry about the big words earlier. Curse of being a nerd in the sciences. It's okay, Michael. Bertil says, regards from Sweden. There we go. I was just talking to some of my relatives in Sweden earlier. I was just saying hi to them, and I was just thinking about them. I was thinking about them. That's why I thought I'd contact them, because they live in Malmo, Sweden, and Stockholm too. I have relatives in Stockholm too. Actually, my niece lives in Stockholm. See, Everett says, hopefully a single person I can live good on 1,000 a month pension. You know, Everett, $1,000 a month for a single person is pretty easy to do over here, provided you have some money to fall back on in an emergency for, like, you need some sort of emergency fund. Okay, but yes, you should be able to live on that pretty easily. But you wouldn't be living great. You're not going to be able to go on vacations and stuff like that all the time. Let's put it that way. You're not going to have a car. You're going to be living, okay. And as you age, I don't know if you're going to want to be in your 70s and taking tricycles and jeepneys places, because it's kind of hard unless you're healthy. So you got to stay healthy, okay? Scott says, why is Cavite so cheap at 4,000 pesos a month in Butuan, Mindanao? I can't find cheaper than 8K. You know, Scott, I don't even know why. I just know that Cavite is probably one of the cheapest areas in the Philippines, and I find that to be true. It's just, I don't know why. I tell people to come here because I think we can absorb a lot of people here. And there's a lot of different places that you can stay and live a healthy life here and live very reasonable and cheap, and you have good medical care, and you're so close to Manila. You're a hop, skip, and a jump away. You can take a air conditioned bus and walk around the Mall of Asia for cheap money, and do walkarounds in there and just enjoy yourself. Have a cup of coffee or something, things like that. You can walk along the boardwalk up there for cheap money. You can be up in Manila and just enjoy life. There's so much to be had in Cavite, especially in Tracy Martires. I tell people, man, you don't know what you're missing here, because we have access to go to a lot of places here because of buses, everything, jeepneys, tricycles. It's easy, especially on my street. My street is probably going to be a hopping place at some point, I think, because of the fact that it's a bypass. And it's good to have that bypass because we have all the jeepneys shooting through here all the time. I can walk out to the end of my walkway, jump on a jeepney, and go all the way up to Das Marinas and go to the mall there. I can walk another street over, like 4 minutes away, 5 minutes away, hop on a bus and go to Manila, or I can come back and get dropped off in the same area by another bus. And it's beautiful. So let's see. Norma says, "Hi Steve, how you doing, Norma? Good to see you on here tonight." William Wilkins says, "Good evening. How far back can a problem be on a police report?" It doesn't matter. There's no time limit on that. See, I had a felony arrest in the 70s, but not charged. No, if you weren't charged, it won't harm you. Okay, if you weren't charged, it shouldn't harm you. Okay, because Mary Rose specifically told me that. But check with her again if you're going to be working with Mary Rose. Okay, but yeah, that shouldn't hurt you. Shouldn't. You weren't charged. Okay. Scott says, William, having fun in the 70s. David Johnson, so for apostling documents, is there a recommended service out there that someone has used? Can you get them all done in one spot? Yes, there is. I don't recommend those places, David, because they soak people. Some of those places are soaking people so bad, it's ridiculous. They charge like 500 to 1,000 for documents, and then some places out in California they're charging like $50 to $100 per document or something like that. It's not that much to it. You just fill out the documents and mail it into your state secretary, and if it's a federal document, it's a State Department. Okay, and it gives you all the information on those sites. It's not that hard. Okay, if you ever need any help with that, I recommend people call me. Just send me an email at steven5975 @yahoo.com, and I'll let you call me and you can talk to me and ask me all the questions you want. I'll try to help you as much as I can, and I'll give you some ideas about some of those documents, because some of them people are having problems with, and like with the medical, if you put an affidavit on that saying I hereby swear this a true attest copy, usually the states are letting it through, because that's not a federal document, so it goes to the states. They're usually letting it go through in some states, so that's a good thing. Okay, so that's fixed a lot of issues for us. Okay, let's see. William Wilkins says Scott had a bunch of fun. LOL. Jack Iceman, Can you give us a rough process idea of landing with a tourism visa with a plan to stay? I understand would need ongoing throwaway tick. After landing, what paperwork would be needed? Now, are you talking about, Jack, are you talking about the SRRV? After you get the tourist visa? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Rough process, because once you leave the airport on a tourist visa, you're free to go wherever you want. When we are pre-COVID or after COVID, okay, but right now there's no tourist visas per se. The 9A visa now is just being used for people to get EEDs and a few other things. But, and the EED lets you come in to get the 9A, which is also a tourist visa. But it's a big explanation to kind of put it out on here. It would take me like 10 minutes to explain the difference between a tourist visa on arrival and a tourist visa 9A type visa. There's a difference, okay? Beast Texas says, William Wilkins, I saw on chat some guys with felonies saying they had no issue. Yes, some people have said that because they've gone to court to have that expunged or things like that. But that's really, if it's like a felony assault or something like that, then you're going to have issues. It kind of depends on what it is. But most felonies, if it's like a maybe insurance fraud or something like that, I don't think you'd have much of a problem. Maybe, but that's up to the PRA. The PRA is the one that really decides about that. Mary Rose could talk to you about that. It's usually the assault issues that they really have a problems with. If it's something old and it's not an assault or something like that, they'll probably let it go. But you can check with Mary Rose about that. But usually assault is an issue. Anything that we hurt somebody, anything like that, that's going to be an issue. Okay. Let's see. Everett Tatum McField. I'm 59 in good health. Don't drink or no smoke. I got more than 33,000 in savings. I don't mind taking public transportation. There you go. So you should be all right here, Everett. Come to my area, you'll be excellent here. Because we're close to everything, and you're close to Manila. You're close to De La Salle University Hospital. You're close to good dentists, and everything is cheap. Cheap in this area. It's cheaper than any other area around in the Philippines, from what I've heard. And you have all the amenities that you need for the most part in this area. A lot of areas don't have Western foods. We have Western foods all over the place around here. So, Scott Everett, I'm in the same boat as you, he says. Mark Richards says, how long to get to Manila for your house, Steve? From my house. Okay. I think that's what he means. In no traffic, probably about an hour, 45 minutes. If there's no traffic at night, I could get there in 45 minutes. Pretty easy. If there's no traffic. But it's Manila. There's usually traffic. Scott, I could easily live off 1,000 a month, no problem at all. Yeah, you can do it. It's possible, but it's not fun. Let's face it, Scott. I mean, it's always good to have a lot of money in the Philippines because, I tell people, guys, if you're coming over here and you're living, I tell people the sweet spot is 2,000 to 3,000. It really is. I mean, if you're retired, you want to travel, you want to buy things, you want to take your girlfriend out or your wife out. $1,000 is more like bachelor money. That's what I say. I mean, yeah, you can have a girlfriend, but you're going to be living cheap. You're not going to be able to take her out. You're going to be staying home all the time. Just for good internet, it costs $70. Okay? Then it's going to cost you probably to have your AC running around the clock about another 80. And then your rent is 80. So there's part of your budget, a good chunk of your budget gone right there. And you do need to have AC here, or you're going to have skin issues. You're going to have major skin issues if you don't have AC in the Philippines. I guarantee you will have skin issues. Okay? Because I have AC and I have some skin issues that I'm dealing with right now, and it's difficult. It's not easy. Let's see. Tom Government says, thanks, Steve, for all your help. Your channel is excellent. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate that. Michael L. says, remember, folks, that there is no zoom in the Philippines. Philippine roads are far worse than Europe and North America. Even if you have supreme driving skill, do you really want to drive in the PH? I agree with Michael on that one, 1,000%. I have a friend of mine, Darren. He drives. He's on probably watching right now. And Darren, he makes it around here. And I'm kind of surprised that he drives as well as he does here. It is kind of a driving experience. But he's used to driving like in Thailand, Kuwait, and all over the world. So, I mean, it's a little bit different for people that are really experienced. mean, I'm a Boston driver. I could probably drive here, but I see it over here, and I wouldn't want to drive over here for nothing because you get in an accident over here, it's a major issue, you know. So there's not tow trucks over here like there is back home either. That's another problem. Beat Texas says William Wilkins. Yeah, I was on Sunshine Shoulders chat. You might live stream there and talk to the guys in that situation. Um, let's see. I would say Beast Texas. I would say talk to Mary Rose about that before I talk in a chat room to people. To be honest with you, because you're getting chat room information, and some of those people are not the most reliable people to go to. I'll just be honest with you on that because I've heard a lot of people. I'm not putting down Sunshine Shoulders. I'm talking about the people in the chat room. Be careful. Be careful. You know, because we've been dealing with SRRVs for quite a long time. We did it on Facebook. I've been doing this now for 3.5 years. Okay, with Mary Rose, helping her, and you know I do it for free. She does it for the money that the PRA gives her. And let me tell you something. It's not as easy as one thinks when you have something on your record. Sometimes they'll deal with you, sometimes they won't. But it's you got to be, you know, check with them, and it's best to run it by them than run it by Joe Blow down the street and try to get information on him to see if you can come into the Philippines. It doesn't work that way. I'm not trying to put you down or anything. I'm just saying, you know, it's easy to run it through Mary Rose and she'll check for you. Mark Richard, are S&R stores like Sam's Club? Yes. There's also Landers too. We just joined Landers the other day. Landers isn't as good as S&R though. I really appreciate Landers as much. I like it. It's okay. They had a really good liquor section there, but I'm not a drinker, so you know that didn't really pay off for me. I like some of the stuff that they had there. I like their electronics department, which is pretty cool. I actually bought a sound bar, which I like. I really enjoy it. It's a Samsung sound bar, and it's good. It sounds really quality. Has some real good quality sounds to it, and it's got the bass thing that you put on the floor, which really gives you like that surround sound feeling. Smoky Mountain Modeler says the travel through ticket or throwaway ticket is usually for the benefit of the airlines. Yeah, it usually is probably. Scott says, Steve, are you near SNR? It's not too far away. It's over in Emus. Mark Richard, how do you spell the town you're in? Trece, and then Martires is Martires, and then city. Okay? Let's see. Steve Ford. Hi, Steve. Steve from San Moritz. How you doing, Steve? I hope everything's going well. Haven't talked in a while. But let's see. I'm going to be ending pretty... Actually, we'll go a little bit longer here. We're doing pretty good tonight. I'm going to go a little bit longer than I was planning. I think my girlfriend's got everything packed up for vacation anyway, so we should be good. Let's see. SNR is owned by Costco. I believe it is. I've heard that too, but I'm not 100% sure. Scott, Steve, I don't need a pension. I'm going to make a YouTube channel, and that will be my income. There you go. But they won't give you an SRRV card for that, unfortunately. You know, and YouTube doesn't pay very well in the beginning. Francisco Fleta says, I drive here, but I don't enjoy it. I do enjoy driving on highway away from Manila to Tagaytay or Subic or Angeles. Driving within Manila is stressful. Yes, it is. It's killer driving there. I don't think I could drive in Manila. Let's see. William Wilkins says, I drove in Cebu in 2006 and 2007. It was crazy, and I made my living driving a truck for 11 years and scared the hell out of me. It does me too. Tor Jack says, you go to a store in California in the Bay Area and place an order, and you can't and they can't follow instructions, no matter how many times people are in a daze. I think in the United States is really, I don't know, something's going on there really bad, and I'm fearful of that too myself. I mean, I talk to people there, and everybody's saying the same thing. I mean, let's see. Rob Mars says, at SM, the onward ticket is a Philippine BI requirement to enter the PH as a tourist. Yes, it is. It kind of helps out the airlines too, I think, in a big way. Dickie Spaz says, good day, Steve. In my opinion, shoestring budget is a recipe for disaster. Yes, it is. I mean, you guys have heard me talk about that many, many times. My recommendation is $2,000 to $3,000. and not a nickel less. That's what I tell people. So that's, $2,000 to $3,000 to save. $1,500 is better. If you come in here on 1,000, I think you're asking for big problems. So that's my feelings on that. Crypto Trucker says, I've been driving an 18-wheeler for over 40 years. If the wife and I come to PI, I'm not driving anywhere. I'll hire a car and drive wherever I need to go. I actually did a video about that today or yesterday, and I posted it, and that's what we talked about all the different ways to get around. There's plenty of ways to get around without having a car. You don't need a car here. Hire somebody else, and your guy drives you around every place. You go to Manila, the guy, when I want to go to Manila, sometimes, and and I don't feel in a bus, I'll hire a driver, and I'll go around. Your guy takes me everywhere I want to go, and it's kind of fun, Brooke Schneider says, I need dependable internet. Do people pay for 2 providers to ensure no downtime? Actually, Brooke, you may want to talk to a neighbor and ask them if you can split that cost with them. And if yours goes down, you can use theirs. It'll save you a few bucks, because for good internet, it's about $70. I use Converge, but people use PLDT and Globe and some of the other ones. But yes, I have 2. Okay, I use my neighbors sometimes when mine goes down. So yes. Scott, crypto says, crypto, there is a big demand for truckers now. Let's see. Smoky Mountain Modeler says, I've heard several things about the throwaway tickets, so I could be wrong. Let's see. Scott, Steve, do you know anyone using Starlink there in the Philippines? No, not yet, but I heard that that's coming. I heard that Elon Musk is actually in talks with the Philippines to use it here. So the way that usually works, from what I understand, and I could be wrong on this, I heard it's $500 to join and $100 a month thereafter. So we're going to see how that plays out in the Philippines, because people can't afford that here. But maybe it'll come. And if it comes here, you know what? That's really, really good internet. And the great thing about it is, if something goes down, electricity goes down, you can still use that as long as you have like a generator or a UPS or something. So, and I recommend people get some sort of UPS or some sort of power supply emergency, one of those big jackeries or something like that. It's good to have. So you can plug your refrigerators and stuff like that in there, or get a regular generator, gasoline generator. Let's see. RR says, hi, Steve from Hampshire, UK. Finally arrived back. Robbie. Mark Richards says, Steve, do you get the small lizards in your home? And if you do get them, what do you do to get them out? A broom. A broom. Yes, we do have them on occasion. When you come into the room at night, sometimes you see 1 or 2. There's always 1 or 2 somewhere. And, lately we haven't seen many. I don't think in the past week or 2 I've seen any. So we put the door sweeps on the bottom of the door. That keeps them out. And when you put the that cushiony stuff around the door, the foam, that helps too. Because these doors, because it's cement, put the foam around your door. Close it up as much as you can. You can go into these stores and buy these strips, and you put it on the side to close that gap on the door. And you put the door sweeps on. It helps a lot. Keeps a lot of that stuff out. Block all the holes. Keep your windows shut. Make sure you have screens. All that will help you. He talks also about cockroaches, an issue. I don't have cockroaches. Never. Maybe once or twice since I've been here, I've seen cockroaches. We've always killed them. Like they come in from outside to a small hole or something. But no, we don't get infested with them or anything. We've been really lucky. Let's see. And then for ants, that's another thing over here. We use chalk. We put chalk on the wall, and they walk across it, and they bring it back to the ant nest, and it kills them. Steve Ford says, hi, Steve. I just did a survey on my land. Found out my neighborhood had land grab 2,500 square meters. Have to get a hold of the other person surveyor now. All done via a lawyer, thankfully. Yeah, it's good to have lawyers here, man. Anything to do with land. Philip Rogers, if you have an emergency, you're going to need to pay cash no matter what the emergency is. So it's good to have a little extra money. I disagree with that. If you have Pacific Cross Insurance and you have an access card and you're using the peso plan, they have the access card. They pay the hospital direct for inpatient, provided you get admitted, but you have to be admitted. William Wilkins says, what I used for the small critters was a small shop vac to suck them up, then toss them. LOL. That works too. That's actually a good idea. But you know something? These things run so fast, they're hard to get. I hit them with a fly swatter and it knocks them out and they drop to the floor. If you guys want to, the best thing you can have in a house here is to have like 4 or 5 fly swatters because they disappear. Get 4 or 5 fly swatters around the house and then use them to slap the lizards and they just drop to the floor and it knocks them out for a few seconds and you throw them out. Sometimes it kills them, the small ones, but it just knocks them out. They drop to the floor and then, you pick them up with the fly swatter and flip them out. Let's see. Michael says, I seem to remember SNR as a joint venture with Luco, who operates Pure Gold and Costco. However, I would have to double check that. Yeah, I'm not sure. They probably do have something going on with another company or whatever. Scott says, thanks, Michael. Michael L says, those lizards eat bugs. Yes, they do. They're good in that respect. And that's why I don't bother with them sometimes. Because they eat the ants. And I don't get that many ants in here that much. But when we have like the season, and there is a season where you see more ants in here when it's raining out, and you see more ants around the house. When you see more ants around the house, don't kill those lizards. They're doing you a favor. You might have to wipe the wall once in a while because you have to clean up after them, obviously. But you know something? That's about the only problem you're gonna have. But Michael's right. They do eat bugs. Scott says the only problem with the lizards is they poo. Yes, that's what we were just talking about. You have to wipe the wall. It's not that much. Michael L. Use screen window to avoid both bugs and lizards. Yes, that's what I mentioned earlier. You're right. Gary Burkhardt says, do they have places like the Home Depot? Yes, they actually have it's Home Depot here, but it's not the same thing. It's a company called CW or something like that. It's a CW Home Depot. But yeah, they have a Home Depot, but it's not as big as Home Depot by no means. All Home is pretty big too. All Home has a lot of stuff there too. All Home is almost like Home Depot, okay? If you go to the right ones. Spanish 2001 says, oh, looking at your location, you're south of Manila. Yes, I'm really close though. Karsten Madsen, hi Steve, you're doing a good job. Have you been traveling much earlier in your life? Yes, I did. I went to Belize, England, a lot of places, to different countries, etc. on a holiday. Don't you want to go to other countries now, even just for a holiday? Yeah, maybe in the future I will, but you know what? I'm kind of settled here and I like it here. I mean, I enjoy it here. I like it. I don't know what the future holds for me. I really, really don't. I mean, things change in your life sometimes. Right now, if you were to ask me if I'm going to stay here, I'd say yes. But I mean, if things change for whatever reason, God knows what the future holds. You know what I mean? Chinoy, hi Steve, and hi to all y'all. I've been listening to you since 6. Since 6. Oh, okay. So that's your time. Your time is different than ours. William Wilkins. So in other words, do what we do in America. It's called winter rise the house. Scott, Malky, you're full of very useful advice. Let's see. Dickie Spaz says, Gary, yes, they do have big box hardware stores in most decent sized cities. Yes, you're right. They do. Chinoy says, it's just too cold to get out of bed. I wish it was that way here sometimes, I really do. I put the AC really cold and use a big warm blanket because I like it cold. I do miss that about New England, I will say that I miss New England weather sometimes. But you know what? I like swimming here. And tomorrow, I'm going to be thinking just the opposite. Man, I love it here because I'm swimming in the warm water of a pool, and that's the thing about Ten's Oasis. I love that place, Let's see. Scott says, how do fly swatters disappear? People grab them. They disappear. They just, one of the kids will run off with it, take it outside, and then it just disappears from somebody else. Beast Texas, gotta send you that tennis racket bug zapper. I got a bug zapper, but I loaned it to my godchild because they said the mosquitoes were eating up over next door. But they I guess they leave the doors open all day and we don't. So let's see, the little salt gun for the sniping flies. Those dudes made millions on those. Let's see. Scott says, Steve, you plan on living out the rest of your days in the Philippines? Probably. Yes, that's what I'm thinking about. That's the plan. I mean, provided things stay the way that they are, and I mean, it all depends on the world situation, and the world situation right now is very fluid, so we really don't know. With China doing what they're doing, nobody really knows. Nobody can say everything's forever in today's world. You just can't. Tori Larson says, has COVID changed any prices of anything? Yes, definitely has. Prices have gone up. Haircuts have doubled in the past 4 years. Gary Burkhart, can you get Honda generators 3.5 kilowatts or better? Yes, you can. You can get them on Lazada. Very easy. Mark Richards says, I had to go to the hospital in Manila a few years ago for food poisoning, and I was very impressed with the care I got. It's very clean and modern, only $100 US for all the care I got. I went to a hospital here. They soaked me I think it was like about $200 or something like that for about 2 days. I stayed overnight. And they wouldn't let me leave to go to an ATM to get the money. So my girlfriend ended up paying, and I paid her back. But I was really a little bit ticked off about that because I went to pay with the ATM or credit card, and they said that the credit card thing was broken down. So all of a sudden, but they said I couldn't leave. And that kind of really ticked me off and left a bad taste in my mouth about the hospital that I used here in Tracy Martirez. It was one of those crappy hospitals that you can go to. It was a private hospital, but it was just really, I'd never use it again. Smoky Mountain Model says, what is the cost of a desktop versus a laptop in a local store? I prefer a desktop over a laptop. I don't know, because they're all different prices. I mean, I've looked at stuff like that, and I've never seen the regular desktops around here. I know they have them, but I've never seen the desktops around here except for the Macs. The Macs, I think I paid about $1,500 for mine. I'm a Mac man myself, Crypto Trucker says, I hate the cold. I kind of like it sometimes, and I kind of hate it other times. When I have to live in it all the time, yeah, I don't like it. I'll be honest with you. I like the fact that you can just put a sweatshirt on when you're cold, and then you can be warm again. You know what I mean? I kind of miss that. But when you're hot, it's hard to cool down unless you have a pool or something. So that's the problem over here in the Philippines. Philip Rogers says, Taylor Do It Centers inside Mall of Asia. Let's see. Michael says, Styropyro had a good video on boosting the power of those bug rackets. I actually have one of those bug rackets in the other room. It looks like a tennis racket, but they work pretty good. I have those. They work. William Wilkins says, Mark Richard, I went to the hospital in Cebu for food poisoning. Also felt the same way. Very impressed with how they treated me. Yeah, most of the hospitals treat you pretty good here. I just had the people in there treated me good while I was being treated. It was when I got out that they mistreated me. De La Salle University Hospital, I didn't have as much, bad luck over there when I was in there. It was all because of COVID stuff, which I understood. Beast Texas says, I'll look that up. Such a good invention. Ultimate Shark Tank material. Dickie Spaz says, bring your electronics with you or be prepared to pay a premium if you wait. Philip Rogers says, fly swatters, back scratches, power cord for the tablets. I believe aliens steal them. Yeah, they disappear. Beast Texas, stock every dryer cycle. It's gnomes. Yeah, some things just disappear over here. You don't know where they go. Yeah, it's gnomes, exactly. Mark Richards says, in the USA, would it cost me $1,000 if I paid cash for hospital care? Probably. If you're talking about if you got overnight, probably cost you more. Smoky Mountain Model says, I was planning to ship a tower to my friend. More bang for the buck over a laptop. I still like my Mac. I love my Mac. Robert M says, I like transitional seasons. I miss the fall. I really, really miss the fall. I miss the leaves changing. I miss walking along the lakes. If I had to say what I miss back home, and I miss New England a lot as far as the transitional seasons. You're right. Walking over in Concord, Massachusetts. I mean, each year I used to go visit the grave of Henry David Thoreau and Ralph Waldo Emerson and all those, all the famous writers and stuff. And on Henry David Thoreau's grave, it just says Henry. It's a real simple grave, and I always got a kick out of that it just said Henry. It didn't say Thoreau, Henry David Thoreau. It just said Henry, and it really, it really impressed me for some reason. I don't know why. But he was such a simple man, and for everything he did, he just went out in a simple way, just putting Henry on his grave. Jack Iceman, the U.S. won't take military action against China. The U.S. would lose 90% of consumer goods, and China would lose its largest customer. It's all about dollars. I don't know about that one. I think that the U.S. has a lot of stuff put away. Probably, I would think. Dickie Spaz says, I agree 100% Smoky Mountain. Let's see. Jack Geisman is always Baguio for cooler weather. Yes, and Tagaytay too. We get cooler weather here a little bit, but it's not that cool. It's a little bit less than Tagaytay, but we do get cooler weather here at night. Okay, and in the morning. Because we're close to Tagaytay though. Let's see. Kevin says, are Apple electronic product prices on par with the US? I'm not sure because I don't even know what the US prices are. Because I'm I'm out of touch with what the prices are in the US right now. I wish I could answer that, Kevin, but I don't mind paying the prices I pay over here. If that's, I heard that they're a little bit more expensive though. Okay? That's what people tell me. Gringog says, what do you think will happen to the dollar if the US passes the Build Back Better bill? Wow, I think it's going to plunge. That's my honest opinion. Mark Richards says, I hear Boston is beautiful. My brother is a doctor there, but I haven't got out to see him yet. Boston's beautiful area. It's the people there that are really tough to deal with. It's that, I don't know, the people have changed there over the years, and not for the good. Let's see, Scott says, Steve, is Tagaytay a good place to live? Yes, but it can be very busy during the tourist seasons. Bertel Sess says, it looked like New England here, 2 hours from Malmo. Yes, you guys got it really made. I watched some girl up there, Jonason or something like that. I can't remember her name. I haven't watched her in a while. It's some blonde girl. She has a vlog, and I watch her on occasion. She's really, really good. Really does beautiful videos. She's a very pretty girl, too. Michael L., I've heard PC options on Gilmore and Quezon City has a good selection for parts for PC. That's good to know. Gary Burkhart says, any nightlife in your hood, or is it a party when two snails get together? Our place is not a party place. Tracy Martinez is pretty quiet, because there's no bars here and there's no gambling here, and that's the rules here. So you have to go a few towns over to get that, or go up to Manila for gambling, pretty much. But it kind of keeps out the riffraff. So just think of it that way, Gary. If you had that here, you'd have more issues. Smoky Mountain Modeler says, Real World is calling, Steve. Have a great vacation. I'll see you next Saturday. I'll be here. Michael L. says, on those $80 apartments, allow me to erect some solar panels on the roof and wire it to a bank of lithium-ion batteries in the apartment. They're small apartments. You could probably put them in there. Yeah, you'd probably have to build some sort of case to put them in or something like that, or whatever, some sort of wooden thing to put them in. But I think most landlords would allow that if you did a long-term lease. Yes, absolutely, Michael. Yes. If you talk to the right person, yes. I would talk to them and say, hey, listen, if I sign a long-term lease with you, would you allow me to do that? They would probably say yes. But it depends on who, especially if you're dealing with somebody like a small-time place or something. Yeah, I don't think you'd have a problem with that. Beast Texas, did you check out Dumaguete? I'm tossing around Philippines versus Thailand. Being in Costa Rica off and on. I spent time in Thailand, but not Philippines. Not looking for marriage. Huh. Dumaguete is expensive. It's a little bit more expensive. It's a lot more expensive than here, where I'm at. Okay, and I always tell people, be careful of solid expat areas. And Dumaguete and Cebu is that. You have a lot of expats there. Just think of it that way, okay? Because a lot of expats go to Cebu. They go to Dumaguete. You're going to pay more, for sure. I tell people to come here because we have all the stuff that they have and more. In Cavite, we have all that, and we're a quick drive almost to anywhere where we want to go. We can go to Batangas, really close, clean water, beautiful scuba diving down there, things like that. It's not that far away. You know, it's really the hop, skip, and a jump away. We got Tanza Oasis, beautiful pool, beautiful hotel, beautiful bar. You can get away. There's other places down there too. The closer you get to Manila, though, the dirtier the water. They're trying to clean up the water here. Things are changing, you know. But I mean, this is a good area for cheap prices for sure. Let's see. Jack says my understanding is electronics is more expensive due to a 30% import tax. Maybe. Let's see. JD says in batch 8 for EED per Mary Rose, hoping to get it in the next 2 to 4 weeks. I hope so. I hope so. I think they just finished batch 5. So you're really close, man. Really close. That's good news. Let's see. Scott, Beast, no marriage, smart. Errol Tatum McField says Apple products are expensive, but they have good customer service and desktop is better option for upgrades. They have the Mac store here, which isn't the Apple store, but they sell all Mac products. It's just like the Apple store, and they have good service there too, but it takes a while. They're a little bit slow. You have a Mac desktop. I can't afford that one. Yeah, I spent about $1,500, I think, for my Mac desktop. I love it. Michael L. says, Scott, just the house. While we badly need the infrastructure, I wonder what else is in it. Let me see. Philip Rogers says, Russia just moved a lot of military up the Ukraine border, so if China attacked Taiwan and Russia attacked Ukraine, I don't think our government would know what to do. You know what? The Ukraine was under Russian rule there for a while already before. I don't think like that's a big. I don't think the United States would do much with that. They might not. I'm not sure what NATO would do under those conditions. I mean, I feel I'm more worried about Taiwan because of the chips and stuff like that than I am about the Ukraine. To be honest with you, I'm more worried about Taiwan. I think the U.S. is too. I think they would sacrifice the Ukraine to protect Taiwan. That's what I think would happen, Philip. That's just my idea. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be right, you know. Michael L. says, I miss FDR, Ike, and JFK. They put nation above party. Yeah, JFK was from, I lived in Hyannis as a child. And I liked the Kennedys because he wasn't a regular, he was an old school Democrat, you know. Dickie Spaz says, infrastructure bill has way too much pork in it. Let's see. 30% tax increase on natural gas for starters. You can't raise taxes until you control spending. I agree. Spending's way out of control in the U.S. See, Maximus is on board. Good evening, Steve. We're actually getting ready to go off in a few minutes, Maximus. Beast, Texas. Yeah, I like the expats. Tourism, diving, nature, budget's good. Not sweating that. Highest quality of life. Appreciate that feedback on Duma. Yeah, Beast, Texas. Let me just put one more comment in this about my area. Is you will never find the quality of the homes in other areas that you find in this area. If you go to other areas, we get new, brand spanking new places here for $80 for a 1-bedroom. And I tell people when you go into a home, look at it with a different eye. You're gonna have to do a little work when you do a rental here. It's just part of renting here. We just did a rental the other day, that yellow home. If you go through my videos, you can look at it. He got that for $300 a month. He has to do some work on it. He did a 5-year lease because he's going to put some work in there to fix it up. Okay, so he wants to get his money's worth out of that. So just remember that when you go into one of these places, you're going to have to put a little money into it to make it look decent for you. Unless you don't care, then that's different. But most people want to have their place look really nice. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Spanish 2001 says, do they have a gym close by and do they have nature trails? Like to stay active? Yes, in my area, right? Well, you guys see me doing my video on the nature trail, so that's right in the park nearby. That's a beautiful area. I've actually given a tour of that park, and I did a video of that too. If you go back far enough, I have a lot of videos. You have to look through them, you know, and you can find them. And yes, we have a gym right down the street. It's about 300 feet away from me, 400 feet away from me probably. I can walk there in 2 minutes, you know. Gary Burkhart says, how far and how long to get to Longapo City from your area? That was my home away from home during Vietnam. Probably 3 to 4 hours if I go at night. Maybe 3 hours if there's no traffic. Probably 3 to 4 hours, I would guess. Driving time. somewhere around there. It's not too far. Craig Jordan, the best outcome for Ukraine is being another Finland politically, coexisting with East and West. Finland's kind of a funny country. It's funny you mentioned about that, Craig. When they were at war with Russia, and they were having problems with Russia, they used these puka knives. And when they shot somebody and they were still alive, they finished them off with a puka knife. The Russians learned a lot from the Finns, and they used that when they were fighting the Germans. They learned everything that they learned from the Finns, they used later against the Germans. I read that last night because I found about those puka knives. The Puuka, I think they are, but I think they call them puka knives, and they're famous, those knives, because they said that they killed a lot of Russians with those knives. They just didn't want to deal with the Russians at all. Again, they wanted to teach them a lesson, and those knives were like a big weapon, a well-used weapon by the Finns. I never knew about that till last night. Let's see. Jack Iceman says the U.S. holds very few cards on the world stage after walking out of Afghanistan. I disagree with you on that. I know that hurt us, and that was a very, very dumb move. And I just saw a clip of Biden talking a long time ago about how, if you leave, you can leave a country in 7 months if you leave all your stuff behind, but a year if you take it. So, he knew what he was doing. He acts kind of dumb on some of this stuff, and I don't know. That whole Biden thing it did hurt America. I agree with you on that. Beast Texas heard that Beantown accent when you said starters, yeah. Michael L. Jack, U.S. costs credibility when previous administrations stabbed the Kurds in the back. Yeah, I didn't like that when Trump did that either. I'll agree with. I'll give you that, Michael, on that, but I think Trump did some good on a lot of other things, though. Jack Iceman, how far away from the ocean are you? Miles or hours time frame? It's not that far. I'm only about, I don't know, half an hour drive time away from the ocean, something like that. It's not that far. It's kind of quick. So, or less. It depends on which way you go, but it's not that far. Half an hour. Craig Jordan says the same U.S. prestige argument had been made about Vietnam and Iran. Nations flock to the power and money always. Beast Texas says the Kurds. I was in Kurdish country for a couple of years. There we go. Michael L says I hope the U.S. will back Taiwan. I hope they will too. I really, really hope that, Michael, because of the chip shortage would kill it would kill Tesla. And you guys know I'm a big fan of Tesla. I got a lot of shares in Tesla. I've made over $13,000 I've made off of Tesla in 1.5 years, off a $7,000 investment. I'm thinking about doing a video on Tesla pretty soon. It's a very interesting video. I know it's not about expat stuff, but it's still a very interesting vlog, and I think I'm gonna do that video. But I'll do a usual Philippine blog like I usually do, but I'll do a Tesla blog along with that. That should be pretty interesting. See, happy days relaxation. Good morning, Steve. Tim Johnson. How you doing, Tim? Jason, well, I've been to Finland. Way too cool. I'm Swedish, but I used to live on a street called Sumi Road, and it was Suomi, and it was all Finnish people, and I was the only Swede on that street. And I used to get in fights with some of the Finns, but after a while, we all became really close friends and stuff like that. And my mom got pissed off because I got in a fight one time with one of the Finns on the street. She kicked me out of the house and sent me back to my dad's. And when the kid found out that I was getting kicked out of my mother's house, he came over to apologize, and my mother says, "I don't care. You're still going." I always remember that, But that fight cost me, from living down Cape Cod. I kind of really ticked me off. So. Yeah, Finland's way too cold, Jason says. Dodger Blue says, the longer Biden is in there, the more credibility we lose. I agree. It's kind of sad what's going on with Joe Biden. Michael L says, Puko Nias for the win. Yeah, isn't that cool, though? That's a cool fact that a lot of people don't know. And I think I got the spelling right. I think it's Puuko, but you got two Ks, but okay, I'll give it to you. They actually sell them on eBay. Sometimes you can get the ones that they used during the war. That's quite cool. Happy days relaxation. Yes, Steve, do a Tesla blog. It will help expats make investments that otherwise wouldn't. I think Tesla, man, is the best investment that's ever been. I know it's risky, but I think they have a lot of ideas that are worth a fortune. I honestly believe it's undervalued, if anything, because of their ideas and the ideas that they have for the future. They have a lot going for them, that company. I think if they lose Elon Musk, that's going to really hurt the company. That's sad, you know. And he has talked about leaving, but I don't think he's going to leave for a while. The question is when to get out. Let's see. Sumi is what the Finns call themselves. Yeah, I think it's Suomi though, if I remember right, Michael. But I could be wrong. It's been a long time. I was on that street. It's in Hyannis, Sumi Road. I used to live on that road. Let's see. Just checked Apple. Apple's another good company, but I think there's going to be some people working together in these companies as things move on and as Tesla gets bigger. I think they're going to have to work with some of these other companies. They probably will. See, I ate reindeer in Lapland, Finland. Didn't like it personally. I'm not a big reindeer fan myself either. My uncle used to have reindeer meat. I just wasn't my thing. Beast, Texas. Check out what Neil Tyson deGrasse said about Elon Musk. He's so impressed. Said he's doing more for humanity than any human ever. Bold statement, but from a good mind. I agree with you, man. You know, Elon Musk is fantastic. He's a smart man. I know his ex-wife goes after him and says crap about him, but I really don't care. Because everybody knows what expats, not expats, ex-wives say about people. And his ex-wife has gone after him a few times and said some nasty stuff about him. And, that's just not needed. I mean, if you left the guy, leave him alone. He's done a lot of good. He actually wants to pay off the $6 billion or something like that. He said he'd cash out his own stocks if the UN could prove that they could feed all the hungry on that forever for good. They said it would solve world hunger. So he called them out on it, and then they never got back to them yet. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out. So that would kill the stock, though, cashing out $6 billion in Tesla stocks. But he owns tons and tons of them. I wouldn't crash them, but it'd probably hurt him a little bit. John House is Apple example MacBook Pro 12-inch base, 14-inch base model, $1999 US. It's like about $323 more than for the app to get a MacBook. Jack Eisman, military power is based on energy production. Biden choking the fossil fuel industry while asking OPEC to increase oil production. Happy days relaxation. I bought it when I got my Model S in 2013. It was a blessing. He's got so many ideas, and man, with this Starlink and stuff like that, that's even going to help the Philippines. He's actually talking to the Philippines, so we're going to have great internet here if he does that. So Jason Will says, I met Elon Musk's younger cousin. He started a solar company that Elon bought. Whole family are geniuses. Yeah, they're very smart. Well, he has Asperger's. He's on the spectrum, and he's really, really super smart. I used to work with Asperger's kids, back in Lawrence, Massachusetts. And let me tell you something. Some of those kids are super, super smart. See, Michael L says, I buy salmiakki, salted licorice from Finland. Good stuff. And I will take some reindeer steak. Jeff Lay says, I made 100% with Apple stock. I hope they introduce the iCar soon. I think they will. Joe Davis says the spelling is Puko. Okay, so it is with the extra K. I didn't think it had the extra K. Okay. But let's see. JD says you have to file an F-bar with the IRS account for having the SRRV deposit in the bank. Yes, if it's over 10,000, I would imagine you have to. That's almost for sure, So, yes, I would say that's true. Let's see. Hold on a second. We just lost. Let's see. I buy salmiakki. I'm trying to find where all of a sudden the thing just popped up on me, so I lost everything. Okay. JD, do you have to file an F? Yeah, we did that one. Dickie Spess says, I'm waiting for the market correction for Tesla and then jumping in. We have a 25 MW Tesla battery at the power plant I work at. It's a bunch of C-cell batteries. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Michael Else Food, they're changing their batteries, I heard, though. Michael L., food is not a supply problem, it is a distribution problem when a third world governments use food as a weapon. You're right. Rocky Pac-Man says, impeach Joe Biden. Let's go, Brandon. Let's see, Jack Iceman says, love my Apple products. Let's see. Beast Texas, yeah, let's get Kamala in there. LOL. That'll teach him. Man, I can't even imagine Kamala Harris as a president. That's scary stuff. Jason Wilson, Elon Musk's cousin played underwater hockey. Interesting guy. Underwater hockey. That's something I've never heard of. Craig Jordan says, I love the third generation AirPods. Just received this week. Let's see. Do you know the name of the gym close to you? It's Titan Fitness. Titan Fitness. I actually did a video over there. You can go back into my videos. It's a ways back though. Okay, but it's Titan Fitness. I think the sign of the place, it's a yellow sign, is on the thumbnail, but I could be wrong. Okay, but it's Titan Fitness. White Van Man says Skylink are bringing out their phone to go up against Apple import only work on Skylink. Yeah, I heard there's a lot of stuff going on with that Skylink. This is gonna be an interesting future. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna finish up here. We got 115 minutes, so we did pretty good tonight. We actually went way over our 90, and we had a really good night tonight. I want to thank you guys for all the questions and everything. And we'll be on here again next Saturday. But thank you guys. And if you guys need any help with anything, you guys can always email me at Steven5975. And if you need to talk to me, you can just ask me for my phone number again at Steven5975 at yahoo.com. Okay, Steven5975 at yahoo.com. And you can get my phone number and you can call me or whatever. Next 2 nights I will be on vacation. Okay, guys. But anyway, guys, somebody just wrote on here, Rocky Pac-Man, China is telling their people to stock up on food supplies. And yes, I did hear that also. That is true. So, but anyway, guys, have a great night. And God bless, guys. Take care.